What she says is, I think all it takes is that they have to have very simple brains.
Oh my gosh.
So probably she can control Madison too.
Welcome to Inchworm,
the podcast in which we are inching through worm. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Ted.
And this episode, we read Agitation 3.1.
Ooh, feeling agitated already, Jenny?
I'm feeling agitated about the fact that Taylor can control crabs! Shocking news!
Is that what I heard you react to?
Yes, I gasped when she controlled the crab. I was shocked.
Well, that's the big headline from this chapter.
No, there are two. I mean, one of them we sort of already had, but she can control crabs, and she definitely has a crush. Yeah.
All right, well, it was pretty subtle, but I'm glad you picked up on it. No, we'll talk about it. I'm so excited. The half of my notes are cute things in their interactions.
Nice.
So, it is Tuesday morning. May I remind you that it's been about a day since the fight with Long.
Right.
A lot has happened in these first two arcs, but not a lot of time
It's been like 36
has passed.
hours, yeah.
Yeah. So Taylor goes out for her morning run on Tuesday, and she goes into a little bit more detail about her route and her routine, and we find out when she gets to the boardwalk, which is a common destination for her, she runs into Brian. Mm-hmm. She has decided to meet Brian at the boardwalk as part of her daily routine. Because she doesn't stay at the loft, she's staying at home, and this way she'll be able to get updates about the team.
And she doesn't have a phone yet, right?
She doesn't have her phone yet. Yeah. And so she meets up with Brian, and they chat. They have a really nice conversation. He checks in on how she's feeling after the dog attack from yesterday. They debrief about what's the deal with Rachel, and kind of, is that going to be a problem for the team going forward? Taylor shows off her power a little bit, and she, in
with
particular, she controls a crab. Huge, revelation, which I'm sure we'll discuss
I was shocked.
10 or 20 minutes later in the episode. And Taylor finds out that all of the Undersiders are dropouts, so she's the nerd who still goes to school.
For now.
Well, spoilers.
For before.
And Brian gives her keys to the Undersiders' loft. And Taylor, she swallows down a little bit of latent uneasiness and decides that she will definitely be coming by the loft to hang out because, after all, to all outside appearances, they're just a group of teens. And if she puts them at ease, maybe they'll let some secrets spill. Right? Mm-hmm. That's right. That's a good reason to do this, Taylor.
Excellent justification. I'm convinced.
Yeah. And then she says, okay, but, I gotta go to school. She goes to school. She feels worse and worse as she's approaching the school doors. And she walks us through in detail about how much she hates going to school and how on bad days she bargains with herself, okay, I'll just go to the first class and then I'll get a treat for lunch. And she takes us through this awful step-by-step approach of how she can kind of deceive herself into thinking it will be okay to get her to stay there. So Taylor makes a deal with herself just enough to get her to her first class, which is okay because none of the trio are in it. But Sophia stops by the class anyway, says something presumably snide to one of the girls in the class, and they giggle, and then Sophia makes eye contact with Taylor and does a little tear down her cheek. And Taylor just can't do it anymore. She talks about it like she can't walk against the current anymore. It's just easier to leave. And she knows that there are going to be consequences down the line for this decision, but it's just easier to leave school and take a bus back to the docks.
I'm so on her side with this decision. I mean, it's just completely unreasonable to ask a kid to go through this. The system is completely failing her. Of course she's going to make this decision. This is the human reaction to the torment they're putting her through.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I have so much sympathy for her. But listeners, I have to say, I need to tell you a little bit about Jenny. Jenny's the kind of person who was when she was younger, got upset watching the movie Grease. because of the good girl, kind of making quote unquote bad decisions and hanging out with the like troublemaker
the wrong kind of kids. Yeah,
exactly. So I think this is personal growth.
I think it is too. I was thinking that while reading this chapter. I was like, no, I want her to leave.
I hope you don't mind me sharing that, but I was worried that you might turn on Taylor when she decides to join.
This is absolutely the right decision, and we do in the conversation with Brian, we get several good alternatives to what she's doing. Brian says, none of them are in school, but Brian says, I take courses online. Alec dropped out, Rachel never went, and Lisa already applied for and tested for her GED. Cheated using her power, but she hasn't. Okay, so probably at this point, Taylor couldn't take the GED and pass it since she hasn't taken most of high school, but she's smart, she's clearly good at school, she could study for it and take it, or she could take classes online. I think that's a really good course of action for her. She can't get into that other school where her bullies are not there because there's like too much of a waiting list. She really can't go to this school anymore. They're just not supporting her or providing her what she needs in a learning environment at all.
Yeah.
Mr. Gladley is really representative of the failure of the faculty to do anything about this. Like there's sort of lip service to like, oh, maybe you can report them. But like he literally saw the bullying happening and just walked away. She's not going to get any help. The bullies aren't going away. It's been going on for a year and a half. And now that she finally has a social alternative, there's just no, like, human way for her to continue going to this school.
Yeah. I do want to just, like, some of the details are, like, so deeply sad. I just, like, it's a brutal description of what she goes through. Well, so first it's as she's approaching the school, the increasing feeling of dread, like a weight on her chest. Mm-hmm. She describes it as she has to deceive herself into going and staying.
Yeah, which is really impressive, like the perseverance she's had.
Yeah,
and
making deals with herself. Yeah. Like, how can I get past the school day? She's trying so hard. And she's been doing it for a year and a half, right?
Yeah, and she has so much discipline.
Yeah.
Like the way she talks about her runs, how she doesn't like time them or use distances or anything. She just pushes herself. And if something feels easy, she pushes herself a little bit harder. And she is someone who holds herself to an incredibly high standard and really does push herself in all aspects of her life. And I think if that weren't true, she wouldn't still be going to the school a year and a half into this.
Yeah. And yeah, the thing about her running, that struck me as very mature. She's not following like a routine, but she's sort of like pushing herself. And she says, if it felt too easy, I just pushed myself a step further than I had the previous day. It speaks to like, I think a very deep drive and a very like needy drive to like push herself and like be better.
She really wants to prove herself.
Yeah.
And there's also an element, there's an element of survival in it. Like the reason she started running was because Sophia got some boys to chase her at school. But what that showed her was that when she is active as a cape, she's not going to have the stamina she needs. So really what drove her was like, not so much self-preservation as like ambition, like this dream of hers.
Yeah.
To be a cape. Yeah.
No, definitely. I mean, there's a lot to talk about in the middle of the chapter, but do you want to talk about Sophia since she just came up and that whole incident?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what there is to say about Sophia. Like she's what we thought. She's very mean. She's openly mocking Taylor, and it seems like what they're trying to do is drive her away, and they're succeeding. I think they're a little bit defeating themselves. It's a little bit of a, like, Megamind Metro Man situation where, like, what are they going to do when they don't have a bullying victim? Like, that's where they get all their fun.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I guess a couple of observations. One is that it's interesting that Sophia is the instigator for the anecdote that you just mentioned about I got some boys to chase her. Yeah. And here Sophia is going out of her way next day to show up and immediately bully Taylor again. Mm-hmm. It's interesting to me that she's named as like the instigator in both of these things.
Yeah. Though certainly we saw a lot from Emma. Ooh, you know what is occurring to me? Okay. We have this theory, I have this theory, that Emma has a power, and part of this is based on Emma making Taylor cry in the previous chapter, and then one of the other girls saying, like, wow, Emma, it's like you have a superpower. I think Sophia has a superpower.
Why?
Because I think she's manipulating Emma. We still don't have an explanation for why Emma turned on Taylor. Maybe Sophia made her.
Interesting.
Yeah, you look confused enough that I think I'm wrong.
It's one level. It's one level removed.
Yeah, I think maybe Emma having a superpower is a red herring, and really it's Sophia who can like influence people, who likes to sow chaos, somehow picked Taylor as her victim and made Emma turn on her.
Well, I'm going to maybe provide you with evidence for your theory here.
Which I don't believe now because of how confused you looked.
It strikes me that there's an interesting parallel. One of the things I loved about this anecdote in the beginning is like Sophia like sicked some boys on me. I think they were going to just tape me to the, a pole or something with duct tape. This is like, to me, Sophia's social power is actually the equivalent to Taylor's bug power. In that,
oh my gosh,
she can call to command an army of narratively unimportant, nameless boys and girls to torment Taylor.
Because they have simple minds, so she can manipulate them.
No, right, but like it's basically like Taylor and the trio are like generals in this war, and Taylor is actually completely
quitting
alone.
The field.
She's completely alone, but they have like Taylor has her bugs that she can't use, but Sophia and Emma and Madison
have all the kids,
have all these other kids.
Or does Sophia have Emma and Madison also? We definitely, I got the impression in earlier chapters that Emma was kind of the brains of the operation. Sophia's stepping up in this chapter. Hard to say.
But I would say that Emma, I think, deserves bullying credit for the absolutely brutal bringing up Taylor's mom thing.
Oh, yeah.
But I do think Sophia, again, in that incident, Sophia showed the strategic edge that she was like, how can I do the most damage to Taylor long term? I'm keeping her backpack. I'm destroying her art project. Like, I feel like there was a little bit of...
Although, I mean, Emma's comment was tactically brilliant. And Emma also had that hold the door before Taylor can push on it moment.
Right, so I think there are a couple of combos that could work in this theory.
They're both quite intimidating. Madison's the real weak link here.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
She's the cutesy one.
Yeah. Guys don't think she's intimidating because she's not.
What a twist when we find out that she's the one with the superpower.
No, but I do this line about Sophia. Sophia had goaded some boys into trying to catch me. I had escaped, helped mostly by the fact that the boys hadn't really cared enough to run after me. But I had found myself winded after having to run just a block. Maybe the boys exceeded Sophia's, locus of control. Like, yeah, exactly. They got too far away and then they're like, oh wait, why are we doing this? I don't care.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It does seem a little bit unfair if Sophia literally has Taylor's power, but it's people
but with humans. Bugs. It would have to be a little weaker.
Yeah. But, maybe it's unfair,
Oh, yeah, there's no rule that says superpowers have to be fair.
I do want to read one thing that Taylor says. So Taylor's like, oh, Sophia showed up. She just came from track practice. Again, Sophia's going out of her way to bully Taylor. Taylor says, I couldn't help but resent the fact that even with her being sweaty, dusty, and a notorious bitch, pretty much every guy in the school would still pick her over me. Mm-hmm. Something about dusty is just very funny to me in that takedown.
Oh,
yeah. But yeah, Sophia sucks. I was not expecting, even having read this before, I feel like narratively, I'm not expecting the ending to go this way, right? Because I feel like we had bullying in the first arc, bullying in the second arc, and at the beginning of this arc, we have Taylor immediately leave. Like, that's not the rule of three escalation I was expecting. It is a rule of three, we're going to change up the dynamic, but it ends with a full retreat on Taylor's part instead of
I didn't see it coming.
Taylor sicking bugs on them or some other kind of,
It makes so much sense to me that, this is the moment at which she would do this because she's just gotten this other social group. I said that already, but, they see her as so powerful and valuable. They courted her. They gave her $2,000. Brian just gave her a key and is like, come by whenever you want. This is your home, too. How could you stay and put yourself through this hell of being despised and belittled and looked down on and humiliated when you have this alternative of, really cool kids who want to hang out with you and they're super villains, but like she said, it was fun to hang out with them. And she is able to justify it to herself just enough to feel like this isn't something, she's not being morally compromised by this. Yeah, outside of the part where I nearly got mauled by bitches' dogs, it had been a nice night.
Yeah, they ordered...
Big exception, but still.
They ordered takeout and we're watching
food,
TV. Yeah. It sounds really nice.
She never gets to do this.
Right.
All she does is work on her power and go to school.
So the keys is so huge because she has a third space. right?
Yeah.
Teenagers, I think, don't necessarily often get a third space. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of feel like this era, the mall era that we grew up in, was kind of like ending as like a place that teens went or whatever.
And how could she doesn't have any friends to go with. Like,
Brockton Bay doesn't seem to be able to, like, the mall is probably
the boardwalk
full
is
of
probably the only,
right? Like,
instead of stores, it's just different supervillains.
Right. Or identical infant quadruplets, you know.
Those things are everywhere.
Yeah, but so she gets her third space. It's like a found family for her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do want to point out, you were talking about sort of the ABB being the super exaggerated type of gang, and like normally kids join gangs.
This is why.
For these reasons.
Yeah.
So, you know, they do genuinely like her, but this is like also
they're also criminals.
A successful gang recruitment effort.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm on Taylor's side. I'm with you in this situation. But there are a couple of things that stood out. Taylor, she talks about how she's not willing to spend the money. She feels like that's a red line she doesn't want to cross. Her allowance. She intends not to spend it. Because she
has
feels
it
like
next to her costume in the furnace.
It's ill-gotten gains.
Someday someone's going to light that furnace.
I think it's when Brian is offering her the keys or talking about, like, will you come by later? She has this instinct that if she doesn't verbally commit to going later, she might chicken out. And she had this same kind of feeling with, like, responding to Tattletale's message earlier. This kind of like, well, my instinct is to do nothing. And then maybe, you know, like, the status quo is okay. I sort of read this moment as, like, part of her in her body feels like this is wrong. Like that
she can sense the danger.
Exactly. You're right. At least risky. It's not maybe full stop wrong, but she can feel that slippery slope before.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's so clear. And
she sort of acknowledges it directly in the chapter with her thing where she's like, yeah, you know, we're just teens hanging out. Teens can hang out. And, like, maybe they'll give me the secrets.
We're not doing criminal activities right now.
Yeah, so that I can turn them in and betray them, which is a totally normal thing that teens
do. Or maybe she will. She's very determined.
Yeah. She has that, it was for a good cause, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
The good cause thing, I think, is funny because it is for a good cause in the sense that, like, in the grand scheme of things, her insinuation plot, I guess, falls on the side of, like, more good points than bad. Mm-hmm. But, like, really why she's doing it is so that she can, like, save face. And no. Like, well, she's doing it so she can have friends, but she's also doing it just like, oh, well, like, I want to hang out with these people who are villains. And, like, this is a way that I can do that.
Yeah.
And, like, it's not really bad because I'm going to betray them, right? Like,
and it's a perfectly plausible reason to do that kind of thing if it were at all emotionally plausible that she could become friends with these people without another strong source of, like, social support and then actually turn on them.
Yeah.
Which, no.
I also want to point out that just the direct line from Taylor learned that none of them are in school.
Yeah.
And that makes it obviously so much easier for her.
Oh,
like you said, there are other options.
If she kept having to convince herself to go, maybe she did on some level think it was optional before, but, like, I don't think in a real way, like, there wasn't... She had to force herself to go to school, but not versus some alternative.
Exactly.
Whereas now she actually has the alternative. And she feels such relief when she leaves.
Yeah. And that's the same, I mean, to me, it's the same as the gang recruitment thing. It's like someone gives you an easy out and you're in the situation, of course you're going to take it.
I'm just so disgusted by the school and their complete failure to deal with this extreme bullying problem that they have. Like, this is really a failure of the system. Yeah. Like, she is not a particularly high-risk kid in a lot of ways. Like, she's, like, low income, but not, like, noticeably so versus the other kids, probably. I think she's white. Like, she doesn't have a lot of the typical risk factors, but, like, she was singled out for this bullying and it's going to drive her out of school. Yeah. That's the kind of thing that school, I mean, I don't have an easy solution for them, but, like...
And I mean, we know that the school is failing to stop the ABB from recruiting any kid who's plausibly Asian, right? So, like, clearly, you know, like, the system's failing Taylor, but it seems like it's failing generally, too.
I mean, that is actually a really interesting insight. Like, we were kind of down on the ABB as, like, oh, wow, it's just a supervillain, like, forcibly recruiting kids. maybe it is more like what the Undersiders are doing with Taylor, where he does give them a place to belong and a place to feel cool and powerful.
That's true. We only have Taylor's sort of characterization of Loom, and the goons, such as they were, didn't appear to be there under duress. They were basically non-entities.
Yeah, we didn't really see much of them.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. It'll be interesting when we get more of the ABB, if we get more of the ABB, whether it's similar to the Undersiders or not.
But it's true. I mean, we've said it before when she was describing the town. Like, Brockton Bay has a real problem. Like, it hasn't gotten its gangs at all under control. And part of the, it's all interconnected. Part of the reason is that it doesn't have its, school system under control. And so there are all these easy victims. It also doesn't have its economy under control, which is why adults are also easy victims. And there's a huge inflation problem.
Oh, I'm glad you picked up on it.
Yeah, so I had called out in an earlier chapter. She's like, yeah, there are these stores on the boardwalk where a dress is like $1,000. And I was like, $1,000? Like, that's like some designer stuff. Like, what's going on? And in this chapter, Taylor's like, oh, you got coffee from that place? Isn't a cup of coffee like $15? And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Now, what if you just said, Taylor's like probably middle class, but what if Taylor's really rich and this is just the like, how much could a cup of coffee cost? $15 moment? And Brian's just like being nice to her. No, I think that's a terrible theory.
Yeah.
I like the inflation theory.
Yeah, and I wonder, it doesn't really make sense for inflation just to have taken place in Brockton Bay, so I wonder if this is a more societal phenomenon where close to 3 times, well, probably more than 3 times what a cup of coffee would have cost in 2011 is what we're dealing with here. I wonder if we'll get any explanation for that, because this is obviously an altered history where these capes emerged.
Yeah. I could imagine a lot of, we know about Tinker Tech.
Yeah.
I would imagine there could have, the almighty dollar might be weaker internationally with, random super technologies emerging all around the globe,
It's an interesting background detail that I would love to get more detail on as the story goes on. We'll see if that happens.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's unclear if Wildbow's interested in, why is there a second big city on the Massachusetts coast? And, maybe he's not interested in this either. But the fact that, these prices are clearly inflated.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful.
Again, it feels like it's that sort of sliding doors. It's different. It's different than the world we live in.
And maybe it's just different in a way that's not going to be explained because it's not going to come up. Yeah.
It's not our 2011.
Yeah. Shall we talk a little bit about her conversation with Brian and her clear crush?
Yes. I thought this whole interaction was adorable.
I will say I'm a little worried because you told me that this story is interested in complicated relationships, which, just on the face of it, she's planning to betray them, so it's obviously complicated for that reason. But I'm a little ooh, is there going to be a darker element in their connection? I don't know. It's clearly not just going to be there will they, won't they for a while, and then they end up together. I don't think that's where the story is going, based on what you've said about it. But I do really like their dynamic so far.
Yeah, they immediately hit it off. She's punctual, and he likes that. And he, because he's now in the boardwalk and not the docks, he dresses like a fancy man about town. She's like, ooh, he knows how to dress. He cleans up good, and he's not wearing ripped jeans anymore. Yeah,
and it's not just, he's dressed well now, although I think that's part of it that maybe she doesn't admit as much. But she says, the contrast and the ease with which he seemed to make the transition was startling. My estimation of Brian rose a notch.
Yes. Her estimation.
Her interest? No, but she's really impressed with how he can change his appearance and blend in. That's a skillful thing that he's doing. Also, he probably looks really good, which I think impresses her on a level that she's maybe not acknowledging consciously.
And then just everything about this is so good. Hey, I said, feeling just a touch embarrassed at having taken so long to respond and feeling painfully underdressed in his presence. I hadn't expected him to dress so well. I hoped my being out of breath was enough of an excuse for the delay in response. There was nothing I could do about feeling unfashionable. He gestured towards the paper bag. I got donuts and croissants from the cafe over there, and a coffee if you want it. I want, I said. and I felt dumb for the awkward lapse into caveman speak. I blamed the early hour of the day. To try and save face, I added, thanks.
It's not the early hour, Taylor. It's that you have a crush, and you've probably never had one before, and you don't know what it feels like.
It is so sweet.
It's so sweet, yes.
I mean, I just suspect I just breezed through this conversation the first time through, because I was like, more superhero, more fight.
Yeah.
But
that's the great thing about our format, and also you have so much more perspective now.
Yeah.
Well, no, wait, you didn't read this as a kid. Never mind.
No, well, I don't know. 2018, 2019.
Were you a kid then?
I was a kid then. It's truly, truly adorable. She later talks about how much she likes him. She's taught in the context of the Undersiders. She says, I liked, or something like, well, clearly Brian is the one that I like the most. I mean, Lisa's okay, but...
But I'm afraid of her finding out what I'm up to, yeah. He smiled at me, and I dropped my gaze, embarrassed. And that's when she starts showing off with the crab.
Yeah. Oh, man. And then that whole interaction, conspiratorially, he leaned closer to me and whispered, you can control crabs, too. I nodded, feeling just a bit of a thrill at how we were huddled like this, sharing secrets while people around us were totally in the dark.
I love how she is in the dark about why she's feeling like this. Like, it's so clear reading this that, like, you know, she's getting a thrill maybe because of the secrets, but also because, like, there's a person who's being friendly with her and whispering to her at all, which she doesn't usually get. But, like, also because she has a crush. Yeah. And what a powerful lure, learning that the person you have a crush on, who you're impressed with, isn't going to school anymore. Yeah.
So I'm curious for, you know, as someone who's not maybe grappling with her first crush.
Yeah.
Do you think Brian is crushing on Taylor?
This is a big leap you're making about my personal history that you have no information on, obviously. Interesting. I don't think it's clear. Yeah. He definitely likes her. We're not seeing any of the flustered behavior, I don't think. He did work really hard to keep her from leaving in the last arc, but again, you know, there are reasons for that. There are practical reasons for that. They really wanted to recruit her. Yeah. So he does like her, but it's just not clear in what way, to what extent. I do get the sense that the mutual liking between them could blossom into something more. Like that, that seems very promising to me.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm trying not to let any future things that we learn about either of them come into this. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the kind of guy who is very personable and very friendly. Yeah. And, like, were he in school, the kind of sort of, like, popular kid that maybe talks all the time to girls who are crushing on him and is oblivious to it. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Brian is that kind of guy.
I agree. Like, he's kind of turning the charm on her, and it's because he wants her in their group. It's the recruiting tactic.
And maybe he's a charming guy.
Yeah, exactly. He has a lot of charm to turn on her. Yeah, maybe it's not deliberate. Who knows?
He cuts right to the heart of their connection when he invites her to come and hang out at the loft, kick back and watch TV, eat our food, track mud on our floor, yell at the others for tracking mud on the floor, whatever. Yeah,
because she's the kind of person like him who would do that. Yeah, and I do think there have been a couple moments where, like, they've really seen each other and been like, oh, I like this thing about you. Which makes me think it's a little more than just, he's a charming guy. Because he's like, hey, you're right on time. He likes that. He really liked that she took a first aid class, like, as soon as she got her powers. Yeah. I think that that's what kind of feeds the idea. Not just that he's charming and basically likes her, that, like, there is something between them that could grow.
Another piece of evidence about Brian, his behavior here, is there's a bit where Taylor's, like, talking to him, and he just kind of, like, nods and gives her the space to keep talking, which is, like, very much him being a good listener and, like, you know, giving her space. He's not talking over her. He's sort of, like, letting her be a part of the conversation, which shows, like, high EQ, I think. Like,
yeah. He needs it to, I mean, he's not the leader exactly, but to, like, help navigate a group with Rachel in it.
He's kind of like the dad.
Yeah. Like, and it does seem like, you know, they talk a little bit about Rachel, about what a difficult past she's had, which we knew. I don't think we get any, like, really new information, just, like, he confirms how tough it's been for her. And he does say, I think she actually considers me a friend, or as much a friend as someone like her can have anyways. Which does say something about his ability to connect with people. And is also just really sad. The idea that, like, I mean, either it's true and it's really sad, or it's not true and it's like a little twisted of him to say that. Based on what we know about her, it's probably true. And it is very sad that she can't really, I guess, have friends like that.
I guess tell me more, because it's kind of othering. I think it's. I feel like the way he talks about her seems that's kind, true, but also a little bit othering. I'm curious what you make. Is there subtext you're reading into here, or?
I felt like it rubbed me a little bit the wrong way. What he said a little bit before that, she's kind of a special case, Brian said. I think that growing up the way she did kind of messed her up. No family, too old, and not really attractive enough to be a good candidate for adoption. I feel bad saying that, but that's the way those things work, you know? Which, like, in a way, like, could just be sort of him being, like, coldly realist. It's also a little bit of a mean thing to say about someone who's your friend to someone who you've just met.
Yeah.
In a way that it's kind of like when you're, like, if you're dating a guy who, like, badmouths all his exes, it's, like, a bad sign. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Listening to how someone talks about other people tells you something about them. And he's not, being horrible about her, but it's a little bit harsh.
Yeah, and it's a similar dynamic to him being like, oh, I wish I could get rid of her and keep you.
Exactly.
It's like undermining her in kind of a...
And that's too strong for the relationship he has with Taylor at that point.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of the manipulative thing we were talking about before, which I do think is something to continue to watch with him.
Yeah. My take on this is Brian he's like dancing around. He's basically saying she had a tough time growing up. Clearly she's deeply traumatized. But he seems to be putting her into this, like... he calls her antisocial, special case.
Yeah.
It's like he's kind of like putting this like personality disorder or other neurodivergence kind of like she's in this category that is something that she can't change and it's too bad, right? Like that's kind of his perspective.
I mean, I think in terms of like what that means for his personality, I feel like it's helpful to remember that he's also just a teenager. Like, he has sort of this, like, wise older person thing going on.
No, right. That's his affect.
Like, right. But, like, I think that's leading me to want to read something more insidious into this. Like, secretly, he's a terrible person. Whereas, like, probably he's just a teen who is thinking about this in a way that's maybe a little bit damaging to Rachel. But, like, it doesn't hint at anything darker, maybe. And we have already seen... Wildbow giving Taylor opinions that are fitting for her age, and that seems to be something he's good at, like writing teen characters with teen type flaws.
He's trying to understand her. Brian's trying to understand Rachel. He's struggling to do it, and this is kind of where he's at.
That sounds right to me based on what we've seen so far. Yeah. Speaking of teens sounding like teens, I was so sad about Taylor's description of herself.
Oh, do you want to read it?
Yeah. So she's been running, and she says she's more fit now. While I could hardly say I was heavy before, I'd had the unfortunate combination of a slight bulge for a belly, small breasts, and broomstick-thin arms and legs. It had added up to me looking something like a frog forced to stand up on its hind legs. That's so harsh.
Yeah.
Like, way to be hard on yourself. Like, it's such a teen thing also. Especially, like, at a time when your body's changing so much and you're like, oh my gosh, I look like some godforsaken creature walking the earth.
Yeah. I don't know if we sort of threaded this together before, but she has had some very, very harsh descriptions of other people in the previous chapters.
Like her dad.
Yeah. I have just some of my dad's not what you call an attractive man. Beanpole thin, weak chin, thinning dark hair that was on the cusp of baldness, big eyes and glasses that magnified those eyes further. He always looked constantly bewildered and a little defeated. In her description of Rachel, she wasn't attractive. Features looked like they would have been a better fit on a guy. She had a square face, thick eyebrows. She talks about she has a thicker and broader torso. For some reason, like I feel like some of her descriptions of other people are pretty normal or just kind of like
factual,
informative, the way that they need to be in a novel. And then some people she seems to really pigeonhole and pick on for these like negative descriptions.
It makes me think of the advice that people give, like, if you're trying to improve your own body image, think of other people more positively, like, don't be judgmental towards them in your mind. And this is very much, like, the case for needing that advice. Like, she's very judgmental towards herself and towards other people.
Yeah, but it does sort of feel like it's a binary. She doesn't seem to spend quite as much time, like she doesn't go into a lot of detail about like why Sophia is so hot, but at the end of the chapter she's like, but she's gorgeous and like I'm scum. And I think when she, for whatever reason, when she deems someone unattractive, she goes this like extra mile into like really being critical.
Yeah. Before we move off the Undersiders, I just want to say they are so trusting. They haven't even been on a job with Taylor. They haven't seen her perform in the field. And they're giving her a key to their place. Like, I feel like part of it must be like, they have superpowers, so they feel strong. And yeah. And part of it is probably Tattletale's power, where they feel like, okay, we know her. We know she's not a threat because Tattletale would see if she was.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, but it's startling.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's like you would expect them to be doing some kind of reference check, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, or at least like a trial period or something. I wasn't expecting them to just let her in so easily.
It is all in so far. You know, and we talked a little bit before. Like you'd expect some kind of like hazing. There's been none of that.
Oh yeah, no. But they haven't even been on a first job, which like might make her complicit, and therefore, yeah. Okay, can we talk about the crab? So shocked at the crab. Because we've been saying bugs. I keep saying insects. I'm going to still mess up and say insects, even though I know that's not actually correct. But she controls a crab. And Brian asks about it, and she says, I used to think I could control anything with an exoskeleton or shell, but I can control earthworms too, among other things, and they don't have shells. I think all it takes is that they have to have very simple brains. Okay, so it's conclusive, not just bugs, because worms aren't bugs, and neither are crabs, but she can control
Jenny,
them.
Time out. What we've just learned is that crabs and worms are bugs.
That's not true. That's a category error.
I know. Taylor's power is controlling bugs. Taylor can control earthworms and crabs. Therefore, earthworms and crabs are bugs.
Your premise is faulty. We don't know that her power is to control bugs. I don't think that's ever been conclusively stated that, like, that's the rule. She can control bugs. And what she says here isn't, I think all it takes is that they're bugs. What she says is, I think all it takes is that they have to have very simple brains.
Oh my gosh.
So probably she can control Madison, too.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe those boys who ran after her.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I love this theory. I love this theory.
No, I mean,
What a good way to get back at the bullies.
No, it does seem like, non-humans. But it would be interesting to see how far it goes.
Yeah.
And also, what a weird... Because we just kind of said maybe it's like the creepy, crawly nature of them. I mean, crabs do sort of crawl, but, like, not really in the same way. They're so much bigger than bugs.
Yeah.
And so it's really intriguing to me what the triggering incident would have been that would have resulted in this power.
Yeah.
Which we do actually hear a tiny more about in this. We learn that she was in the psych ward under observation for a week.
Yeah.
And everyone at school knew about that. So, you know.
Yeah, it is interesting. I sort of assume, right, she lives near the ocean. Mm-hmm. So she's been around and she's like, oh, I can sense things in the water. What are those things? Oh, they're crabs, right? So like,
oh yeah, because it's sensing. So it's not just that she has to try to control everything. It's what can she sense.
Right. So I think it's her range. I forget if it's like a mile or.
But can she control fish? They have pretty simple brains.
You'd think she'd mention fish if they come up. So it's an interesting.
No, I think
there's more nuance to explore.
Yeah,
here.
and I think her conclusion. I think all it takes is that they have to have very simple brains. I don't think that's going to be true. I think that's what she thinks now. I think there's going to be a different reason.
Yeah, it's very interesting
that these things are under her control.
Yeah,
maybe it is the movement thing. I like it as like the style. I mean, I guess. Flies fly, and that's very different than like an inchworm inching. So. I don't know. I also like the idea of it being sort of a human mental category. Like, we think of creepy, crawly things. Again, a little weird that crabs would be in there, though. So, I don't know.
Right. But it sort of makes sense. Crabs and beetles aren't too far off.
I guess.
Crabs move sideways, and beetles don't, but, like, they kind of look similar.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know.
And certainly if a crab was, like, crawling towards you on the beach, you'd be, like, kind of freaked out. Not want it to approach and pinch you, so...
Yeah. If I saw a crab where I would normally see a house centipede, I would be just as likely to scream and jump up on the couch.
I think I would be... Well, I don't know that I would do those things, but I would certainly be much more surprised. I would not try to squish it.
Yeah.
I would try to catch it.
I also just want to point out to Taylor, when you're listening to this podcast, right in.
Oh, good. So Taylor lives past the end of the story is what I'm getting from this.
You should work as a crabber.
Oh my gosh. She could just make money.
Bring in the crab meat.
It's a great job.
Yeah. Revitalize the city. It's a seafood hub.
People need to use their powers for capitalism. None of this villainy crap.
Yeah.
The true villainy is capitalism.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many other thoughts we have. I'm really worried about her dad. He's going to find out about this. He's going to find out she's not going to school. He's going to be so worried.
Yeah.
And he's got to find out something soon. Like, the school is probably going to call him after a few days of her not showing up.
Yeah.
It seems like they haven't been calling for her missing the afternoons and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like at my high school they would have. Like, if you missed a whole afternoon, they would have called your house. Maybe this...
if they noticed, like, how do they know that if one teacher missing one class, they take attendance, but yeah. I feel like it probably varies a lot based on the school system.
I'm sure.
Probably the district you're in and stuff. I think it's not uncommon to be able to not go to school and have people not notice. Mm-hmm. But I agree with you that eventually this is the bill's going to come due. I mean, that's sort of getting us towards the prediction side of things. So I was going to ask, what's going to happen when Danny finds out she's been dropping out of school?
I think that she will give the explanation that is the basically true one. It's not the complete picture, but it's the truth, that the bullying is just too much for her to take. And I think he will work with her to find a way for her to get her credits and, like, come up with a homeschool program.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I certainly think, to your point about, like, this is a valid other option, I do think it's much more likely to lead to a good outcome if she's working with Danny than trying to do it on her own and hide it from Danny.
And I don't think that Danny will let her hide it for long. Like, he clearly is someone who doesn't monitor every detail of her life, but is concerned and intervenes when he thinks there might be danger. Like when he called her at the loft and was like, "Are you in trouble? If not, say your mother's full name." I love that, just providing a code phrase. He's an active parent, and he's going to do something about it. Yeah. He's not going to let her slip through the cracks, even if his power is limited. Yeah. As he said, he feels impotent. I don't know if I have other predictions at this point that are different from... Like, I still think she's going to go on a job with the Undersiders.
Do you think that we're going to pay off her dropping out of school this arc? Or do you think that's a longer-term thing? Because we've had the same structure the past two arcs. So is this where, like, it's home, Cape, or home and school, Cape, life, home and school? Do you think this will continue the pattern or break it?
I think this will break the pattern in that I think she's going to go on a job with the Undersiders. There's going to be a lot of, danger and drama. I think they're going to meet some superheroes. I predicted, like, Glory Girl. No, maybe not her. We'll see. And then she's going to get home and she's going to be feeling very, like, relieved and victorious. And, just coming home, like, triumphant, but trying not to show it, obviously, because she can't tell Danny what's going on. And Danny is standing there being like, "So what's this? You've dropped out of school." Like,
yeah, the cold splash of water.
In which case, I guess a few more days are going to have to go by because her not showing up at school today isn't going to lead him to be like, "So you've dropped out." But
it would also have to be quite an emergency if they did a job like before 3 p.m. today.
Great point. So I don't think she's going to go back to school. With the bullying thing, it's really interesting. Like, I had kind of predicted, like, this is a bridging conflict. It's not going to go anywhere. It turns out to be a real inciting conflict in that it spurs her to drop out of school and more fully enter this world of capes, which wasn't something I'd fully anticipated. I'd figured it would either fizzle or resolve, but, like, neither thing has really happened. Like, it, in fact, pushed her out of school. Which leads to the question of, are we going to get any resolution on that, or is it just like it's fulfilled its purpose? I do think we're going to see the bullying trio again. I think they're going to be running their own gang.
Ooh. Yeah. Wait, so now it's not just that either Emma or Sophia has powers, but that all three of them have powers and they're another teen villain gang?
They're not all
capes, but they are all villains.
But they are all villains.
Yeah.
Because, you have people in the gangs who aren't villains, and they are leading the gang. I think nominally all three of them are leading the gang, but really Madison's kind of powerless in that situation. Exactly. She thinks she's leading the gang. Emma and Sophia know she's not leading the gang. Emma and Sophia, one or both of them has powers. I could see it going either direction. We'll see. It's
interesting. Sophia's gone up in your estimation a lot.
This chapter was really instrumental. We hardly heard about Emma, and Sophia was doing all the stuff.
Yeah. And maybe they have like a, it's like a chore wheel, like in their clubhouse.
Their villain clubhouse.
Yeah. It spins around, and then, really Emma and Sophia just toggle it back and forth between them. They don't fully rotate to Madison. Because when they assign her the choice,
it's rigged.
They don't get done.
It's rigged to never land on Madison. Or to only land on Madison like one every 10 times. Yeah. And they're like, what? It's the wheel. What can we do? So I think this is going to be a really interesting exploration of the difference between these bullies wielding power over the kids at school and the powers of a supervillain over their gang. It's going to be a really seamless transition from one to the other. They're basically the same thing, I think, is what we're going to see. Yeah. And I mean, that's what we see with like Lung. He has these kids that he recruits out of schools. What's the difference between him and a bully? He just kind of has more, more criminal powers.
Right.
But what the trio is doing to Taylor already is, criminal. They're stealing her stuff. They're vandalizing her stuff. It's just on a really small scale.
Maybe losing the school of it all, but keeping the bullying of it all.
Yes, I think losing Taylor is going to kind of spur them in that direction.
That's amazing. No matter where Taylor runs, the trio will find her and bully her.
Yes, I think so. But I also think they'll move on to bigger targets.
Okay. Bullying bigger targets. I like this. Yeah. I like this.
Because I think there are kids who like power. Like, I don't think they're necessarily in it for money, though I think they will want money just sort of because it's useful. But I do think that they want to exert power. Yeah, they're going to be a girl gang.
I'd like to propose a name for this girl gang.
Okay.
The Children.
Well, it's not taken, so why not?
All right. Coming up in 3.2... we'll have mention, or maybe even meet, Triumph.
Triumph. That sounds like a superhero to me. I think they're part of the Protectorate.
Okay.
There's sort of a glory girl vibe to it. So I think probably someone who's like, strong, fast, that kind of
strong,
thing.
Strong, fast? Yeah.
Strong, fast, yeah. One of the brothers.
Right. One of the brothers from Homestar Runner.
If there's a specific power, Triumph, there's not a lot to go on in terms of specific powers beyond like the sort of Superman power suite.
Turns into the Arc de Triomphe.
Yeah, arc-shaped.
Miss Militia.
Miss Militia. Wow. That sounds like a woman who runs a gang.
Okay.
Yeah. Arms them with muskets.
Nice. An old-timey, a woman who has a gang full of old-timey weapons. It's really going to do well going against Coyle and his team of Tinker-powered snipers.
They look like old-timey weapons, but really they're like super weapons because she's also a tinker.
What if they're weapons that shoot you back in time?
Whoa, wild.
So like they're as crappy as an old-timey musket, but they send you back to, the 1830s if you get hit.
Ooh, this is like the Weeping Angels in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
They like steal your life by sending you into the past.
Don't want to fight Miss Militia. She sounds terrible.
No, well, as long as you don't blink, you're fine.
Yeah.
I really want there to be a Paul Revere connection. Like maybe she's from Concord or Lexington.
Ooh.
Or like, she's a silversmith. I don't know.
Yeah. Those
are terrible theories.
Yeah. But yeah, so like an American founding connection.
Yeah.
A Revolutionary War connection.
Yeah. But probably that name is more about the power she wields over her gang. I'm not getting a strong sense of specific powers from either of these names.
Maybe she has a gang of stormtroopers, not in the more colloquial sense, but in the Star Wars sense, in that they always miss.
That's the Miss in Miss Militia?
Yeah, the Miss Militia.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I like this. Miss Militia is actually a dude whose power is that anyone who aims at him misses.
There we go. There we go. We did it. We did it. All right, quickly, get to the fic writing. I'll start sending Jenny to a different... I'll spoof the WordPress site, and you can read all of our Miss Militia fic.
Yeah, I can't believe the rest of Worm is just about Miss Militia, the guy who makes people miss.
It'd be a great power to have. I mean, most superheroes have that power. In media, right?
It's kind of true, yeah. You're right, yeah. This is a work that seems interested in providing fuller explanations for phenomena that occur in superhero comics, and villains always missing is a good one to explain.
Yeah, he's the guy that explains why none of the normal people can ever shoot a cape.
Okay, I do want to know at what point in this book you will sneak into my phone and replace the rest of the EPUB with a book that you've secretly written of 1.55 million words.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll wait until there are fewer words remaining.
Okay, 1.2 million words.
Yeah.
Just write a different ending for me.
Yeah. I think that's all we've got.
That's it. All right.
We started Arc 3, and see you next time.
See you in 3.2.
Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae. You can read Worm at parahumans.wordpress.com and support the author at patreon.com/wildbow. Follow us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at Inchworm Podcast, or find our Discord link and any other updates on inchwormpodcast.com.